Hey, crazy crafters. I am so excited that you are here today so I can share with you 24 of the absolute best crafting tools, supplies, so that you can up your crafting game this year. Hello and welcome. If you are brand new, my name is Jennifer and this is a little bit of Common Crazy. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, having the right craft tool is what makes it or breaks it when you are doing a project, whether you are thrifting something, getting it from the dollar store, it doesn't matter. You need the right tool for the job. So I'm going to share with you my tippity top absolute favorite. These are tried and true, years of loving some of these products. I am not one of those people that goes out and decides one day that I love one product and the next day I love another. Oh no. Once I fall in love, I may try something else to see if anything is better. Let me tell you, the things I'm sharing with you today, these truly are the best of the best, in my humble opinion. Are you ready to get into these products? Now, I am going to make sure that I link everything in the description box for you in the number in which I'm talking about them. I don't know about you, but I think the description box keeps getting harder and harder to find. So I will also make sure that I put them in a pinned comment for you as well, just to make it super easy. Starting off strong, we are starting off with some scissors, but not just any scissors. Here I have for you some Tim Holtz scissors. Now I have two different sizes. And I'm telling you right now, if these were the only pair of scissors I had in my collection, I would be perfectly happy. If one of them disappeared, I will be online buying it and replacing it immediately. What I love about these scissors is the nice large handle that they have. Works right or left-handed, it doesn't matter. And it's silicone, so it's super soft in your hands. They also go down to a nice sharp point. Cannot say enough good things about these scissors. They are perfection. Next up on the list would be glue guns, but not just any glue guns, cordless glue guns. I don't know about you, but I have so many cords already in my crafting area. The last thing I need are more cords, and that is why I'm so drawn to using a cordless glue gun. Now, my two favorite glue guns both come from Surebonder. I've used Surebonder for years. I absolutely love the brand. The first one would be their Detailed Mini. Oh, if you need to do some more precision gluing, this is the glue gun for you. You can also turn it into a regular glue gun by taking that cord and plugging it into the bottom. You do want to make sure that you do put the glue gun back on the stand every couple of minutes to keep it hot, but it is such a great glue gun to have on hand. That was like my very first conversion into the whole cordless glue gun thing. Then this past year, I purchased their battery operated glue gun, from their professional series. And oh my goodness, life changing. I actually have two batteries. So if one dies, I can pop the other one in. It is a little heavier to use that battery. So I find if I rest the battery on the table while I'm gluing, that works really well for me. The glue gun and the battery do come separately, but oh, it is so worth it. Such a great glue gun. In fact, I love it so much. I happened to just mention that kind of in passing to the girl over at Surebonder that my husband loves it too. She was so sweet and she sent him one. He keeps it at work because he uses it there all the time. I'm telling you, this is game-changing. Sticking in the realm of crafting guns, let's talk about a heat gun. I think every crafter, DIYer needs to have a really good heat gun. I'm a little bit biased though. And by a little bit, I mean a lot, because I think I have found the perfect heat gun. I have the one from Porter Cable, and let me tell you 3 very good reasons why I think this is the best of the best. 1, you have a temperature control on it, and it has a huge variant within that temperature range, which I think is fantastic. 2, you're able to control the speed of it, which again, fantastic. And 3, of course, you can rest it on the base of it in case that tip of it is a little bit hot. Heat guns for drying your paint, using it with something like a torch paste. There are so many different reasons why you need to have a heat gun. And honestly, I think this is the heat gun everyone should have. Now, number 4 on the list is a household favorite. Everyone in my house will come and grab these out of my craft stash because they are so good to use, and that would be Zip Snips. They are an electric rotary cutter, and they are perfect. You can cut through fabric, cardboard, which my boys do a lot with. They are sharp, they are fast, they are easy to use. They are fantastic absolutely love them, and I have had so much good use out of them. Sticking with things that cut, for years now, I have been bragging about miter shears. They are, again, one of those things I think everyone should have if you are cutting smaller, thinner pieces. They work fantastic because you're able to change the direction and get those miter cuts with it. Great for like dowels, if you're doing like some trim, things like that. They do such a good job. These do not work on thicker pieces, but they are perfect for a really quick cut of something that is a little bit on that thinner side. Definitely a staple in a craft tool collection. The number one question that I get asked is, what Cricut should I get? And without a doubt, for years and years, I have steered people towards the Explore line from Cricut. It is my favorite by far because I feel like that is the biggest bang for your buck. That is what people will use the most. And now that Cricut does have their Explore 3, which uses the smart vinyl, it is my favorite one because I love the option of being able to use the smart vinyl, which simply means that you have this vinyl that you don't have to use on a mat and allows you to cut really long projects. Now, not all of your projects are going to be big and long, so you won't always need to use that vinyl, but the option of it being there really makes this a special machine. With that being said, I always have a caveat. Before you purchase something this expensive, go ahead and look at everything that the Explore will cut and what the Maker will cut. And if you think that you are going to want to cut those things that the Maker cuts, then go ahead and bump up and get that as well. I have an Explorer and a Maker, and I will tell you right now, 99% of the time I'm using my Explorer. Only once in a blue moon do I pull out that Maker. Number 7 on the list is to get yourself a sublimation printer. Now, this is a little bit of an investment. I get that, just like the Cricut, but it is so well worth it. I have been using mine all year. I've been able to do keychains, shirts. The amount of things I can create with it that I've been able to save money on has paid for itself. Now, I went personally and got an Epson EcoTank 2800 because my home printer is also the Epson EcoTank, and I love it. I save so much money on ink compared to the cartridges. Oh, don't get me started on the cost of those cartridges. Not my thing. But let's just go back to my sublimation printer. I have had a blast with it, and I can't wait to even create more things with it. It is so much fun. If you love being like artsy and putting it onto canvases and shirts and things like that, this is something for you. If you have a Cricut, you have a sublimation printer, you definitely want to make sure that you also have a heat press, not just using your iron to put on that HTV vinyl or the sublimation. You definitely want to make sure that you're using a heat press. There are so many different ones on the market. I actually have one from Cricut, but there are others out there that honestly I think would be just as good, and you could save yourself a little bit of money. So my only tip I have for you is to look into getting a heat press, whether it is one that you hold in your hand, or if you want to do the automatic where you pull it down, just whatever space you have, that is what I would go with. So something else that is brand new to me this year that I was heavily influenced by Shannon over the Daily DIYer and Courtney from Creative on the Cheap would be a photo printer. Who knew how handy this little gadget would come? How often would you like to have photos that you're taking out on display, but to go ahead and send them off to, whether it's like a Walgreens, a Walmart, it doesn't matter. It's always a step we tend to not want to take. And having your own photo printer at home to print out those photos and display them is just so much fun. I'm able to swap photos in and out for different times, and especially if you have like little kids or grandkids and they're growing so fast, you want to be able to swap those photos out all of the time. Just having this has been so much fun. It's kind of like having your own like Polaroid camera, but with better quality. Number 10 is one of these products I have had for years and I stand by it, and that would be a paper trimmer. Not just any paper trimmer, it is the one from Fiskars, because if you notice, all of the print actually is underneath the plastic, so it's never gonna rub off. It is one of these products that you will get and keep for years and years and years, and the only thing you're gonna have to do is change the blade. It is perfection. We all know that crafters and DIYers have an assortment at paintbrushes, but my favorite, most used paintbrush, and I have talked about this for years now, is the 1.5 inch plaid flat brush. They come in a pack of 2. Everybody should have these brushes. Not only do I use them for paint and I can get some really clean edges with them, but I also like to use them with Mod Podge. Now, if you do use them with something like that, you want to wash them completely immediately. And I do not cross those brushes over. So my Mod Podge brushes are only for Mod Podge, and my paint brushes stay with paint. Number 12, I swear I have been shouting from the rooftop for a while. Everyone should have a stash of silicone mats. I have several different ones. I started off using just the Sherbauder ones. They're nice, they're thick, I love them. And especially when it comes to the smaller ones, they are my favorite silicone mats to have. I paint on them and the paint peels up when it dries. They're great for using wood glue on or regular glue, Mod Podge, any of that stuff. The only thing I would avoid is super glue. It is not meant to go on silicone. Other than that, they are such a great thing to have if you DIY craft in any way. And the reason why I say have a stash is as they get dirty, you can toss them in the washing machine to clean them. You can toss them just as a grouping together or even like in with your towels. They are so good to have on hand, and you can get them for a pretty inexpensive price for a good size one on Amazon. I love having them. I learned a little trick from Whitney over at Whiskey and Wit. She uses slap bracelets to hold her like vinyl rolls together, which I think is brilliant. But I also took them to hold my mats together because I would fold them up and put them down, and then I'd have to dig through the pile. Now I have them all rolled with that slap bracelet, and they kind of just stack up. Easy for me to grab one, use it, and then move it to the side when it gets dirty, get a collection, wash them when I'm ready. I'm telling you, slap bracelets will help you organize your craft space and will become such a needed tool to keep you organized within that space. They're so good. This next product I can absolutely thank Whitney and Courtney for because they are the ones that introduced me to it, and it is the tape cap. This little yellow piece of plastic is pure perfection. All you simply do is put it on the end of your tape so that you can get nice crisp cuts every single time. It stays with the tape. You're never having to look for a pair of scissors. It does come in different widths so that you can match it up with the different widths of painter's tape that you may have. It is such a fantastic product, and it is so inexpensive. It's one of those things that everyone should have. It is just so good. I'm not even sure where I saw this the first time, but I thought it was genius, and that is having a tape dispenser for your heat-resistant tape. I hate having to fiddle and try to get the end up. I don't like having to find a pair of scissors to cut it. Having it on a tape dispenser makes it so easy. So if you are someone that is using a heat press for anything, you want to make sure that you have your heat-resistant tape to keep your item in place. Get a tape dispenser for it. You will thank me later. Every crafter DIYer needs to have good adhesive for whatever project that you're working on. And let's just face it, not all adhesives work for all projects. So 3 of my top favorites that basically will cover all of your bases. My favorite wood glue to use is Titebond. I love using their original and their Titebond 3, especially if I'm doing a project outside. That is the only wood glue that I use. If I'm working with items that are more plastic-like, a gel super glue is perfection. It really holds it. And I would never do the original because I feel like I become like a leaky mess and my fingers stick together. So I'm a gel girl through and through. And the last one is if you're working with any sort of plaster, glass, things like that, I love to use the Gorilla Construction adhesive. It holds oh so tight. Those are the 3 adhesives I have in my stash at all times, no matter what. Whether you are cutting ribbon, fabric, anything like that, you want to make sure that you have a really good rotary cutter. And I love this one from Alpha. Now, let me explain to you why I think this is the best one out of any other one that you can get. I have 2 reasons. First, I love how the handle is on it. I feel like it's very natural to roll it across your fabric to cut and how that you hold it. My aunt has one where I feel like I have to hold my elbow up and my hand up. It's awkward for me to use it. I can't do it. So I love the handle on this. Second would be, and the most important thing, the safety features that this one comes with. It does not release that blade without you actually holding down on the handle and or pushing up into the handle as you are cutting. So if you drop it, that blade's not coming down. The reason why I know this is important is my aunt, again, with the one that I can't stand that she has, dropped on her toe and cut it. I recently got another one from another brand. I was thinking it would be really cool. It has a great handle on it. And noticed that once you release the blade, it is just out there and easy. So if it ever fell off your space and landed on you, you are slicing and dicing yourself. And that is a big no thank you. I'm already klutzy. I do not need help. So if you are anything like me and you're looking for something that does the job, but has the safety features, this is the rotary cutter for you. I am so excited about this next item because I have seen it popping up with so many of my friends using it, and that would be a spray tent. Now, if you spray paint at all, this is such a great item to have because it will protect the surfaces around it. It protects your item from anything that could blow on it. It is so good. I cannot say enough how much I love having a spray tent. Now, I have the small one and it works perfect for the things that I'm using. But if you do larger projects, they do create larger tents. What I think makes this spray tent even better would be the Lazy Susan. You just buy the parts on Amazon or at a hardware store and add a piece of wood. And that way, as you're spray painting, you're able to turn those objects and get to all the different sides. The two together is like the perfect marriage. This past year, I have fallen in love with a product called Salt Wash. It allows you to add texture to your piece by mixing it in with paint. That just is so good. It reminds me of, if you remember a couple years ago, people were putting like baking soda in the paint to get that texture. You get a similar effect. However, this is like 1,000 times better because it dries hard. It stays hard. It allows you to paint even on a little bit of a more of a slicker surface. It just is such a good product. It is more of an investment. I have like the bigger tin. You don't use much of it. I will probably have this one thing of Salt Wash and never need to repurchase it because it just really goes a long way. This next item is one of those things that makes my former teacher heart so happy because I use it all the time within my crafting world, and that would be a laminator. I use it with kids' chores. I've used it with schedules. No soliciting signs. I could just keep listing all the different reasons why I use it, why I love it, and why I think you should have it. Not only do I think you need to have some good adhesive in your collection, but I also love having staplers. Now, I have two different staplers that I want to talk about. First would be a mini stapler. This is a Tim Holtz one. Love it. I've had it for years. It's tried, it's true. There's other mini ones out there. I'm sure they're just as good, but this is the one I have. I know it works. I love how it feels in my hand. If you can't tell, I'm very tactile. I love how things fit in my hand matters, and this one does a great job. The second stapler is from SureBonder. It's their Trigger Fire. And the reason why I love it is they have made this super easy to use because stapling sometimes can be like a really hard on your hands kind of job. But because of this little knob, you can turn it. That allows you to use two hands to set it, and then you can use one hand to fire it. Oh, absolutely love that. If you want to use it like a traditional, stapler, you still can, but you have this other option that just makes it easier for those of us that may not have the strongest hands. This is a tool that I originally got way back in my scrapbooking days, and I still use it to this day, and that is a crocodile. Now, by the name, you don't even know what it is. It's like a fancy hole punch. Well, that's how I use it anyway. It does on the end allow you to set eyelets, which was a big thing in the scrapbooking world for a while. But on the two sides, you have two different sides of hole punches, and they don't just punch through paper. You can punch through wood, metal. They are super strong. Again, the grip makes it really easy to use and to get through those different harder items. Such a great product. Once you have this, you will never need another hole punch in your life. No matter how we try to get away with it, crafting always leaves a mess, and one of my favorite tools to have on hand is a desktop vacuum. I actually learned about these from Courtney over in Creative on the Cheap, and I'm so glad I did because I use this vacuum like crazy. It will pick up smaller pieces of paper. It will pick up some glitter depending on where it's at. If it's on a slicker surface, it picks it up really easy. It's just such a good tool, and it just charges USB and then it's ready to go when you're ready to use it. Now, this last one is one of those tools that I've had my eye on for a while. And after talking to all my friends, I narrowed down the one I wanted. So when the company reached out to me and asked if they could send it, I was so excited. And that would be a laser cutter. More specifically, I have the X-Tool M1 and I am loving it. They have no idea I'm talking about it right now. I'm going to have a whole nother video coming out about how I use it, why I like it, all that kind of stuff. But I at least wanted to give you a heads up that I've had so much fun cutting out tags, ornaments, that kind of thing with it. And it's hard to not mention something when it is such a big presence in my craft room and you're going to be seeing it. I wanted you to know that I am loving it. Now, what I want to know is, what are you loving right now? What is a must-have craft tool that you have to have in your stash? Let me know that in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.